Let's dig a little deeper now into Disney's future, as well as the bigger picture media and streaming landscape. Ben Silverman is chairman and co-CEO of Propagate Content. He's also the former co-chairman of NBC Entertainment. We pretty much expected this result from the Disney board, Ben. We just talked about some of those industry issues, and that is profitability aside from, the Netflixes in the space. What are you expecting in the year ahead?
Well, I think, the strikes, which also affected the production pipelines, plus the kind of culling and cutbacks that so many of the big companies made in their content investment, is going to end up becoming a problem for them. Because if you want to sustain your subscribers or your members and you want to keep growing audience, you're going to need to deliver them original content to fuel that machine. And I think you're going to see in the latter half of the year a lot of reinvestment in content and commissioning of more original productions. I know that a number of those platforms actually were the good on the side of the strike, having unlocked some actual cash for them. And I think they need to look at how they're going to invest and utilize cash to get more original content to sustain their subscription and member ambitions. And I think you've also watched as a number of the platforms have started to kind of cross-license their content to each other, which is another way for them to be making money. But you got to have originals in those pipelines to be able to grow the rerun value down the road.
Right. Original content, that's expensive. You talked a little bit about licensing. There's also the introduction of ad tiers that we've seen over the last year or so. How does that shake out in terms of profitability for some of the platforms that have yet to reach that?
Well, clearly there's going to be companies better at it than others. And you're watching a company like Amazon that could potentially have billions and billions and billions of advertising revenue because they're directly advertising in the store. We've always looked at the opportunity for transactional advertising, and that kind of platform will open that up. And I think there'll be a lot of money coming in. And then in turn, they'll want to invest in other categories. They're going to want categories like food. They're going to want categories like lifestyle. They're going to want categories like sports to drive to those advertisers, not just the subscribers. And I think that's going to unlock a ton of more money into these systems that hasn't really fully been recognized or, earmarked yet in terms of the Wall Street.
Let's talk about, we have a Chiron up there, Ben, a moment ago saying, are streaming bundles the future? So let me get your reaction to that in light of the sports mini bundle that's been announced in the last month or so. Will there be, for example, news bundles, maybe a news bundle red and a news bundle blue for those who lean right or those who lean left? Will there be a women's mini bundle, whatever? What do you see happening here?
I get, are we recreating Hulu, right? Which was our defensive move when it was
recreating
Fox.
Yeah,
you're recreating cable.
We're going old school.
All of it. And I think, there's a huge regulatory, issue, right? I think there'd be a lot more consolidation and mergers if we weren't looking at the screen being literally those 7 companies or these companies controlling probably 90% of what the world is seeing, and certainly Americans are seeing. And I think, there's a lot of regulatory, headache and concern about further mergers. And I think those mergers probably need to happen for these companies to really be able to be successful and efficient and to deliver. But they will probably not be allowed to merge. So they're going to do these virtual kind of JVs and partnerships. And then are we going to be in a situation like Disney and Comcast just were about who's going to buy out the other piece of
partner
Hulu?
Yeah, right, exactly. You get,
when it works, they're going to want all of it, and and someone's going to be annoyed that they are partnered with their frenemy across the street. So it'll be very interesting to see.